Good afternoon and welcome to the Board of Commissioners special meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. It is 2 p.m. City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Brooks,
Here.
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Here.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Here.
Commissioner McGeehan, Commissioner Gavayu.
Here.
All are present except for Commissioner McGeehan.
Next on the agenda is public comment. Public participation is encouraged. If you are addressing the commission, step to the podium and state your name and address for the record and the organization or group you represent. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes and do not include any topic on the agenda. Public comment on agenda items will be allowed when they come up. If you would like someone at the city to follow up on a comment or question made at the meeting, you may fill out a comment card with the contact information and give it to the city manager. Comment cards are available at the back table in the commission chambers. Completing a comment card is not mandatory. Do we have any public comment? With no public comment, we will move on to project items. A, Archibald Snack Shack scope approval.
All right, Mayor and Commission, I will turn this over to Community Development Director Marcy Forbes.
Good afternoon, Commission. So as we discussed during our last meeting, city staff reached out to the contractors who bid on the repair for the Snack Shack and asked them to provide us 2 additional bid opportunities. One of them was to remove the subflooring to expose the connections that are connecting the building to the piles. And in addition to, or in lieu of removing the subfloor, we also asked for a cost related to removing the sand from beneath to provide the access that we needed. So we were able to get quotes back, and that's why it's before you today, is to look at the quotes and discuss moving forward with either subfloor removal or sand removal. Also, since we last met, I've been engaging with Kimley Horn about the process for the historic. When I did that, I had asked Catherine Yonkin to start researching the Snack Shack historically. So I included 2 documents on the dais for you guys, and I gave a copy to Attorney Trask as well. I thought it was kind of interesting, and I know the public's been talking a lot about their knowledge of the Snack Shack and kind of what they've seen throughout the years. So I thought this was pretty interesting because this was definitely a voice from the community stating their hopes for not losing the Snack Shack back in 2007. So it appears through referendum, they created an ordinance to prevent the demolition of the Snack Shack in 2007. I just got this document today, so I haven't really had a chance to vet it with Attorney Trask to see if the ordinance as written and passed is written as a snapshot in time, or if because of the way it's written, it's completely applicable. Either way, I thought it was interesting and something to consider, as well as some of the thoughts and feedbacks from the public around what they wanted from the Snack Shack back then. So I thought it was kind of something you guys would appreciate having. So we provided that to you as well.
Do we have any public comment?
I'm here for the dredging, but I will comment on this as well. My name is Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina. The Snack Shack is a structure that I think we should really be careful with because it's a structure you will never, ever, ever get to rebuild. So if there's any possibility of sustaining it, I think we should really explore every potential possibility. Because of its location and the special nature of that building, it would just be such a loss to the community, to the area. It is definitely very valued to not only our guests and visitors, but also to our residents. I think it's a very special part of Madeira Beach, and I think it will be a very special part of the future development in that area as well. So would love to see whatever we can do to keep that running. Thank you.
Do we have any additional public comment? Commissioners? Comments, questions?
I'll get us started. Mr. Trask, does the ordinance that was voted in 2008 impact any of our decisions, or is it too early to ask?
Well, I'm just reading it now, but it looks to me like it was only addressing the issue back in 2007 or 2008 when it was approved. I don't see after reading sections 1 through 3 that it in any way prevents you for either rehabilitating the structure or removing the structure if it is not safe. So it looks to me like that was just trying to address the issue right then and there, and in that timeframe.
Okay, if you have a differing opinion later, I'm sure you'll let us know. My question on the subfloor, was that part of the initial scope to renovate?
So part of the initial work was to possibly replace some of the subfloor. I think we had calculated half of the 1,800 square feet, but it was not to remove the whole entire subfloor. But it was just in case when we were removing the tile, if we found rotten subfloor that needed to be replaced.
By removing the entire subfloor, is it, of course, it would give you a better inspection, but does it impact what their scope would be? I guess it would for the renovation, so that would have to all be rebid
Correct.
because it's a different scope. Do you feel that you would have to remove the whole entire subfloor to get the inspection you're looking for?
I'm going to let Marcy answer that question.
That would be, my plan with that, if we did decide to go the subflooring route, would be to be on site during that to kind of guide them. If we get to a point where every single one of them looks corroded and I want to go ahead and extrapolate that all of them are, we can make that call then, but it would have to be an infill decision as to when we would stop the subflooring or if we felt like it needed to continue to come up because of what we're discovering as they're removing it. So my intent would be with the subflooring to limit as much destructive testing as possible. So with that, honestly, I'm a proponent of the sand removal. I think that'll provide us the access we need from the underside because there's also some plumbing and some electrical that runs beneath there. And ideally, if we remove the sand, it doesn't count against our FEMA 50. Then with that, we would work to put up a protective skirting to prevent sand accumulation in the future, try to maintain that underspace access. That doesn't mean we may not have to cut a location or two, but if we can retain the subflooring and go ahead and assess from underneath the damage, to me that seems like a better approach. I know it's a more expensive one right now, but I think in the long run it would be very beneficial. I think the subfloor removal, how much will actually have to come out to make that assessment would be a fill time decision as we're exploring it.
So if you remove the subfloor for inspection, you most likely would have to, at a later date, remove the sand anyway. Is that what I'm?
That's exactly what we were talking about too, because even like the 3 locations we uncovered, one of them really didn't have sand. The rest of them, the sand was just right there. So you're still going to have to get it out to really inspect around the connections, locations as well.
Okay, thank you.
Would you say that the excavation that we bid out and we're going to do, that is not going to impact negatively any further decision we make, whether it is to rebuild it or to start fresh? It's not going to impact negatively any of that. Is that correct?
So with the sand removal, there will be no impact. If we went the subflooring route, I did send out an email to Kimley Horn, and she felt like because the nature by which we consider the snack shack to be historical isn't dependent upon the subflooring. So it wouldn't necessarily probably impact the ability to get it designated historic. If we were knocking off the outside exterior parts, that would change, but the subflooring she felt like would not negatively impact our desire to get it designated historic.
And that's what we're talking about, just the subflooring then today.
In the tile, so it has a subflooring, then there's like a mastic material and then tile on top. Okay. And so all that would go away with that subflooring removal.
Which is what we've got bids on.
Correct. So you have bids on the subflooring removal and the sand removal.
Okay.
2 separate options.
Commissioner?
I am for revitalizing the historic snack shack. However, I think the biggest challenge we have here is the 50% FEMA rule. So if we do not get the historic value, then any money we're spending, because I know once you get into revitalizing, the value would be greater than 50%. So I'm thinking that it is really important to get that historic designation so that we can bypass that 50% FEMA rule. That FEMA rule, I think, is going to be killer. So I don't know how to address that. Are we throwing good money after bad is the question. And then the other questions that I have, let's say it's below 50%. Let's assume that, yes, we can fix and revitalize this. I have a couple questions. Did you all come up with the 1,800 square foot and the 133 cubic yard of sand?
Pinellas County Property Appraiser has the square footage at 1,800 square feet for the restaurant. And then, yes, we calculated the 133.
Yeah. So I would have not given the square footage to the contractors. I would have wanted them to figure it out for themselves. Otherwise, if it's greater than 1,800, they are going to charge, and if it's less than that, they won't return our money. And secondly, why do we have to remove the 1,800 square foot or whatever it is to see what's below it? I think we can just open maybe 10 areas, certain areas, and look down below to see the integrity of the structure beneath there. And frankly, even if there is, let's say, sand below there, I don't see that sand being detrimental. Why do we have to remove the sand if there is sand beneath the floor? So let it be. You generally build pilings, you have pilings, and then you have the floor, so whatever amount of sand that's below there shouldn't really affect us. So I'm just worried that we're spending money that is just basically wasting money is what I'm sort of worried about. And I'm in a dilemma. I mean, I know we have to make a decision. I understand that. We can't wait for the historic evaluation of Snack Shack. So we have to take some action. I'm in dilemma. I don't know what to say really, because we don't know, the 50% rule. We don't. Do we have to address that now, not having the historic designation? And if we do, then, Marcy, would you say that whatever we do to the Snack Shack would be greater than 50% reconstructing?
Based on the quotes we received to return it to its white box state, and then the estimated kitchen equipment that would have to be installed, that would also count against the FEMA 50%. It's too close to not be concerned about it, that we would ultimately go over the allowable spend.
Yeah. So,
thank you. I will say, with the holes that we cut in, I was hopeful like you that I cut a hole and I could poke my head in, but the sand was just so high in those locations, and because of the orientation of the beams, the floor joist, you couldn't get the visual that I had hoped for with those few cuts. I feel like the pros to the sand are the ability to remove it. So not only are we seeing just the connection to the building, we're seeing like 1.5 to 2 feet of the pile. So it has been there for 90 plus years, or whatever you want to quote, but those are 90 years of damage, unseen damage that's also been occurring to it. And that's kind of what we've been seeing too with some of the condos, as I previously mentioned, damage they didn't know they had until the sand washed it away. So I think with the sand, we get to see the connections, what kind of shape they're in. We also get to view the subfloor without being destructive. We gain access to, like I said, any plumbing or any electrical that goes underneath there. We can properly correct that. And so those are the things that I think are, if we're going to do this, those are some of the pros I see with the sand removal part of it. But to your point, we couldn't really cut holes and then just pop our head in. It wasn't feasible, unfortunately.
If you were to assess the quality of the pilings, the existing pilings,
Visually, the pilings I have been able to see did not show, I did not see any structural concerns on the few that I saw. I did crawl up underneath there. You both saw me trying to fit underneath what I could to really get a better view. So I couldn't really assess the underside. Like the exterior ones, you can kind of see a little better, and those seem okay for the visual spots. Underneath, you couldn't really tell. And almost all of the straps that I've seen are severely rusted.
okay. Now, the 50% rule is not a one-time deal, it's every year. So every year you could do 50%. Just wondering if we can take advantage as we go through the process of reassessing the historic. Can we do 50% and then wait, and then maybe by then hopefully the issue with the historic will go away. If it doesn't, then the following year we do the rest of the 50%.
I'm pretty sure that the FEMA rule is you have to bring it back to its pre-storm state. I guess you could argue that there is a lot of things damaged there that were not caused by the storm. I don't know how far that would go. I'll tell you what my opinion is on this, based on where we are, based on the community, based on the quote that we have, the conversation we've had is rooted in what ifs and maybes. And the easiest way for staff to be able to discern and get away from what ifs and maybes and have it based totally on fact is to remove the sand. The sand will need to come out regardless, but if the sand is gone, then there's a crawl space under that building enough to be able to see, are the pilings good? How many straps need to be replaced? And as Marcy stated, they could then put a pinning underneath to keep sand from washing back in. And it would really allow us as a commission to be able to make the best choice moving forward based on the construction of the building without wondering what we might find or what we might uncover. And removing the floor, you're still going to have to take the sand out to be able to see the straps. So it's not, I think that $30,000 could arguably be a lot of money to spend on sand removal, but based on the information that we've received, I feel that it is money well spent to look towards the preservation of the building. And I don't know how long, Marcy, do you have any idea on the timeline for determination on whether or not we qualify for a historical building?
So I don't quite yet. So I've reached out to Kimley Horn. We are putting the historical documents together in a package for them to be able to review as well. I don't want, because we would draft it into our LDRs and then it's reviewed for criteria. I believe at a state level, possibly the state just complies with federal, so that's where it stops. But the way I foresee us doing this is it would be declared historic to our city and be protected by the city and the state, and that's pretty much it. With what we're saying makes it historical, which is the look of it. You can look at a picture of it and anywhere in the world and you go, oh, that's Snack Shack at Madeira Beach. That's what keeps it historical. So with that, I think we have pretty good chance of being able to meet the qualifications that we would need. I don't want to say 100%, but I think the outlook is good for that. Timing is difficult for me to say right now, but once I get that from Kimley Horn, I can share that with Clint, and then he can distribute that to you guys.
So, I mean, if we vote today to remove the sand, then you can contract, have the sand removed, and start doing your assessment on the underneath of the building.
Correct.
Be able to determine what might or might not need to be added to the bid that we already have.
Correct.
Or revisions that need to be made to that, what have you.
We will more than likely have to go back out.
Back out to bid.
Yeah, so that'll be a process.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't care so much myself about the process. I care about getting it right. And I think that the community doesn't care if it takes, I mean, they obviously, I'm not saying they don't care. The community wants just to understand what we're doing. So until we can see it, you can't know what we're doing. So if you said to the community, in a month, okay, we've removed the sand, this is what we've determined, we need to get a rebid because this was on it, it doesn't need to be there, or this wasn't on it, needs to be there, goes back out to bid, it's a better informational bid based off, we have better information to be able to put out, and then the bid comes in, and it's safe under the 50%, then we're still moving forward with historical designation, but we don't have to wait to start the work. Or vice versa, it comes in over, we need to complete the historical designation, but if we see that that path is a given, it's going to happen, it's just a matter of time, there'd be no reason why the city couldn't go ahead and start working on the building and securing it to keep any deterioration from continuing. Like, if there's termites in the building, we should tent it.
Right.
We should stop the termites today, not in 6 months, right?
We've had a termite inspector over there. I'm waiting for the paperwork to come in.
Awesome. I mean, I think that the forward-thinking part of it, but we need a little more information.
I would agree, and I strongly feel like, going the historical route, we have a great opportunity there. By removing the sand from underneath, we also have the ability, and preventing it from gathering up underneath there, structurally securing it now. I'm going to feel better during the next Helene event that structure can withstand at least not being wiped off the foundation.
Right.
Which would be the catastrophic part of that. So I think with the information we gather, we can do that. Also, if we go back out to bid and we have been able to access the underneath, we can say, okay, 4 subfloor locations need to be repaired, and that could drive down the cost of what we've seen, because now we know what subflooring is really bad.
And with the timeline of rebidding it out, more than likely, it would probably come back to you all in March-ish. So we would be further along in the designation. So we will know a little bit more then as well.
And in the meantime, once you see it, if termites come back, it needs to be tented, all of that can be happening while we're working through the process. I am strongly in favor of removing the sand so that staff can determine the state of the building.
Took the words right out of my mouth about the termite inspection, because will they not only be able to say, okay, you have termites or you don't, but the actual structural damage that was caused?
Unfortunately, I was in a meeting when the termite inspector came on site, so I wasn't able to meet with them, but I do know that when he walked in the building, he said that it was pretty bad. So I'm expecting that to come through. If that doesn't have the information that we need in it, then we can just obviously go forward. That was what the intent was whenever I scheduled the inspector, to give us a level of I guess, how bad it is, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would be in favor of the sand removal based on that inspection, because if the structure is in such poor shape that the scope to repair is significantly more, it's a safety hazard or whatever, then why spend the $30,000 to? So one decision's based on the other, in my opinion.
Okay.
So is it possible to take a vote on the sand removal based on the termite inspection? Is that
What's the termite inspection have to say that you can remove the sand?
if the building is structurally sound
I mean, the building's standing there. It survived a hurricane.
today?
I mean, it's not going to fall down because of termites.
I don't know that.
Marcy, do you have an opinion on that, or Megan?
I'd have to go back and refresh my memory on what Pannoni said, but I don't know that they really identified any areas of like that level of concern. I know they said that there was some,
They noted
yeah,
termite
they noted termite damage.
And as long as it's not just a structural issue.
But I think
Correct.
that
You
the
move
two
forward.
kind of go hand in hand, the sand removal to inspect the structural straps of the building, and also then the termite inspection. So two separate, but both structural, if that makes sense. We need both of them to be done.
Well, did I understand you to say that there was a termite inspection done, but you,
So, I don't remember what day it was. I contacted a company, and I think it was last week, but I can't recall. They came in and they looked at the building, and they are supposed to be providing me with a proposal. And my hope is that it was going to have the level of, I don't know how termite inspections go, but the level of the infestation, if you want to call it that. But I haven't received it yet.
and more importantly, the level of damage to the structure that can or cannot be salvaged? I mean, is that a possibility, that it'd be so much termite damage that the structure couldn't be revitalized?
I don't think that that would come from them. I think that that would be further through another engineer inspection.
I could look back at the Pannoni report too, but I believe they didn't have anything that really jumped out at me that screamed the termites are, it's going to be to that level of destruction. But I'd have to refresh my memory and go look at the Pannoni report. I don't know that the quote we're going to get related to the termite, I believe he walked in and said, "Oh, it's bad," and he's going to give us just a cost quote, not grade how bad it is or what his determination of the depth of damage based on the termites is. So, like I said, I could review the Pannoni report, but I don't remember anything too detrimental.
What is
related
that
to
report you're referring to?
So Pannoni did a structural assessment, and we've had it in previous packets, and I don't have it up right now, but I can try to pull it up, where they kind of did an overall of what they could see. Then with that, we utilized them to help build out that construction drawings that we sent for bid. So we kind of used them to help identify things that do need to be repaired and fixed, and sent that out to bid. But they do acknowledge in the report they couldn't see everything.
Okay, so there wasn't a definitive report on structural integrity regarding termites,
Let me pull up.
regarding termite damage.
Let me pull up the Pannoni report. Do you have it up? Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, let me look at this real quick. Sorry, so many topics going on. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
I mean, as long as it's not a main structural member, I don't think it would be a big deal. But I guess I'm sure the report would come back, we didn't have access to any of the main beams under the building. So I guess we would move forward, and they may have to reassess or re-inspect, because I don't know. How do you inspect something that's all covered up?
That's why we need the sand removed.
The chicken egg situation.
Yes.
Right.
So we need to proceed with removal of the sand or the subflooring. We prefer the sand. And then from there, depending on how this report comes in, we can further contact somebody to come in and give us an inspection on the termite damage.
I would feel comfortable removing the sand but continue with our investigation with structural integrity of the termite damage.
So are you making a motion?
I do have one other question.
I guess not.
So I just want to state that if we are moving forward and the answer is yes on these items, then we have to assume that that either we will have the historic designation approved soon by the state, or the value of reconstruction would be less than 50%.
I think based off of Megan saying that more than likely, we're going to have to go back out to bid, because once the sand is removed, we'll have a different scope of work based off of the visual and not the what-ifs and maybes. So if that isn't coming back to us until March, that's 4 months. So 4 months, we're either going to know that we're under 50% or that the historical designation is approved. I would think they would go hand in hand in that timeline.
So if the historic designation is not approved, and reconstruction will cost greater than 50%, then the money we're spending right now is waste, right? Is that safe to assume?
I don't think it's wasteful because I think that if we don't take the steps to truly understand the damage, then we're not doing our job. You're either going to spend it today or you're going to spend it tomorrow. You've got to do the work to find out what's underneath the floor, right? So, in my mind, I feel like every day that we don't remove the sand and get the building back in a climate-controlled environment, it's deteriorating. So I'm for, let's get the sand out, let's see what's there,
Well, that was my question to Marcy early on. Removing the sand, is that going to negatively impact our either decision? Don't we need to get down there and see it regardless of
Correct.
what we're doing?
I believe
Then,
so.
if so, why is,
It's just the money that's being spent is what I'm,
but I'm suggesting that we need to spend it either way.
Either way, because if you don't spend it, you can't make a decision, you don't have the facts.
That's what I'm hearing.
If you spend it, you spend the $31,000 because it's $30,700. If you spend $31,000 and they pull that sand out and it is just a wreck, that's a different conversation, but that's a conversation based in fact, not based in, we're going to start spending the money, and then once they start the work, they realize that there's a lot more damage we didn't know about.
Well,
So taking the sand out would allow us to make better decisions.
I'm looking at spending, I guess, one of the contractors would want $49,340, and the other one $54,100, because you have to add floor removal and sand removal.
No, we don't have to remove the floor. If we
they're
take out the
exclusive.
sand, the floors don't have to come out. Once the sand is gone, you can crawl under the building and look at everything. Marcy or whomever can go under and assess all of the pilings, can assess all of the straps, because there's a crawl space. The way that it is now, if we remove the floor, the sand is still there. So you can't see the pilings or the straps necessarily because of all the sand. You can't see the plumbing, everything that's under the building.
You don't have to do both.
No, only the sand.
How do you get to the sand? Just from
They're gonna
under?
suck it out. Don't they? They suck it out like a vacuum cleaner, kinda.
So I imagine there'll be probably some, based on the elevation projects, they're tunneling underneath, but by hand. But yeah, I do suspect it'll be a combination of both. It'll probably be some hand operations, some vacuum operations. We already have some holes in the floor they could utilize for
And
for
they
getting to it from
understand that.
above.
They understand they don't have to remove the floor. They
That-
understand that they have to do whatever it takes
I can-
and not have to spend
I
the
could look
money.
back at it. He's saying that to make sure that the contractors understand that their bid is based on not removing the subfloor, just removing the sand. They're not, yeah.
Yes, it was one or the other.
So I
And
think we were pretty
whatever
clear in our
their means
bid.
and methods are, however they get there was their choice. We were not going to tell them how to do it.
If that's the case, I feel more comfortable now.
Awesome. Then do we have a motion?
It just looks like I recommend that we move forward with sand removal based on the Molly Contracting Corps price.
Do we have a second?
The Molly contracting, that's the 30,700, right? Yeah, I second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Taglerini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr?
Yes.
Commissioner Gavayi?
Yes.
Mayor Brooks?
Yes.
The motion carried 4-0.
Next on the agenda is ITB number 25-14, Johns Pass dredging.
All right, Mayor and Commission, we're just providing you the bids that we received for the dredging project, giving you an update on where we're at with everything, and I will turn it over to Public Works Director Wepfer.
With the dredge bids, we received 3 bids, so you'll see that in the memo. The first C&M dredging, they did not respond properly to the bid, so automatically they were not responsive. The reason why there are 2 separate areas is because we had the base bid, which was in the original permit to dispose of the sand at a Class 1, which is Pinellas County dump. And then after we acquired the property and after doing inspections at the new property, Marcy had a great idea that we would take the sand to that property, and we would grade the property properly, because right now it's not graded very well. So you have the alternate bid in that, and you'll see that the alternate bid is much lower than the base bid. So we are working on modifying our current permits with Army Corps and also with FDEP to be able to add that as a location. We do not have that as of yet. Army Corps has requested additional information. They wanted to see like a development plan for the property and also a site plan. We did provide that yesterday, I believe. But with it being a holiday week, Edgar is not in the office. And the FDEP permit, I think that we've already pretty much gotten the verbal okay, but not a written modification to the permit. So what you have in front of you is the bids, and Marcy, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you covered that pretty good.
We can answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have any public comment?
Yes, Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marine again, just fully support moving forward on this as soon as we can to get the relief that Johns Pass desperately needs from that sand buildup underneath the bridge. And right now we're seeing the sand build up at an exponential rate due to that beach renourishment project. We were just out there with FDOT evaluating some of the bridge material that was left after the 2007 construction and completion of the new bridge. And the sand has exponentially increased since then because of the sand renourishment projects that are going on from Madeira, or north of Madeira Beach to Sand Key. And we're seeing that sand build up really, really fast. So the sooner this project can get rolling, the less sand will be there. And I think we're going to be faced with a little bit of a challenge as that continues to build up. So the sooner we can get this done, the better. And the quicker we can move, the faster the project will move as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would
Any
like-
additional public comment? Commissioners?
Just brilliant idea. Well done.
So it's my understanding that today moving forward, we would be looking at a recommendation on the Bayside dredging alternate bid. Is that correct?
Yes.
Fantastic.
So sand buildup, is this sand buildup post what the bid, in other words, the bid on a certain cubic yards? Is this additional sand buildup will cause additional cost?
No, the additional sand that Hubbard is mentioning was there and is there throughout the year. It will come and go. So in the original bid form, it accommodated for 12,900 cubic yards of sand.
Okay. And how much money do we have to spend here?
So we were awarded a state appropriation for $1,556,000. The current remaining budget, if we are to award the alternate to Bayside, will still leave us with a balance after paying for the CEI services of $70,309.50. So we'll be within budget.
And the consulting fees and revisions and permitting costs and so forth and so on, they all came out of this 1.566?
Correct.
And we will still have $70+
For my
100,000.
calculations, yes. We will still be within budget.
Okay, thank you.
Well, all I would say is, good job, because this has taken forever through no fault of yours. So I'm happy to see it coming to an end and getting to the end of it. So do we have a motion?
I think we're going to have a motion. I just had one question, and it's just a housekeeping question, page 11. The bid pricing, and it's talking about the complete build-out of the downstairs office suite.
That was my error. Disregard that.
Okay, just pointing it out.
That was corrected on the addendum, just not,
Oh, okay.
sorry.
Like I said, housekeeping. So Are you ready for a motion?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Bayside Dredging LLC alternate bid total of $1,294,550.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Yes.
Commissioner Gabai,
Yes.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes?
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 4-0.
Great job, guys.
Yes.
Can I just give an update with that as well, so everyone's on the same page?
Yes.
So Pinellas County's dredging permit, or dredging project is going on right now outside of the channel. We cannot start our dredge until they have completed, and Aptum believes that they will be completed by end of December. So we should be able to get this done in that January timeframe.
Awesome.
And there's no issues with grants. That's all been extended.
The only items that we are waiting for is Pinellas County's permit, which they have a site visit scheduled for December 11th. They are fully aware of this project. We've already received the permits from Army Corps and DEP, so there should be no reason why we do not receive that. And then the modifications to the permits. And we may have to reach out and ask for some help if we don't get an answer to that.
So we definitely can do that. If you have an issue, let's have that conversation.
We should know by next week.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
the dredging material is suitable material then, right? That's
Yes.
why we are placing it at 555.
The reason why it was not suitable for the beach is due to too many shells.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with,
Before you adjourn, I would just like to ask that on a future workshop that we get an extension of the jetty, something that, to talk about, that we can talk about submitting or requesting from whoever it is, the county or whoever, and get that discussion going.
so,
Have to discuss it, just.
yes,
it's on
okay.
our workshop.
Yep, we can add that. We'll have to gather some information to be able to do that properly. But I think I know the right person to talk to. Okay, so if there's nothing further, it is 2:42 and we are adjourned.